it's the JS Living, and I'm coming to you from my humble abode here. I wanted to go ahead and change up like what I've been doing, so instead of doing Facebook Lives, I've decided to do YouTube videos instead. So please support me and my journey into this whole new world. I'm sure my first few videos are going to be a little awkward because I'm not used to like cameras and things of this sort. Anyways, I'm here today to talk to you about my book series, but more importantly, I felt like it was important for me to bring more to the table than just talking about my books. And I feel like Facebook Live is not enough to kind of get across what I want. Usually my Facebook Lives are like 30 minutes long. There's not much time for questions and whatnot, so I thought I would change things up a little bit. The other reason that I decided to start this new journey is that I wanted to kind of give like a monthly theme thing going on. So monthly themes that are not only related to my book and my life, but also related to you all and what you're doing out there with your lives. I'm really hoping that this will be informative and fun and exciting, so that's what I'm here for. Anyways, this month's theme is navigating familial expectation. That's like the theme of the month. Specifically this week, oh, and I forgot to mention this, we're going to be doing this series every single week. You'll be able to find these videos on YouTube, but also every Saturday I will still be doing the Facebook Live so that you can ask questions as needed. And as you do that, I just wanted you to have that in mind. So anyways, back to what I was saying. For this month specifically, the month of May, the theme is navigating familial expectations. And this week in particular, we're going to talk about Elizabeth Bathory Tepes' familial and personal obligations, as well as my own. And again, you know, if you guys want to chime in on Saturday with some of the things you're struggling with, that's perfectly fine for the Facebook Live. So I'm not really sure if I should read first or if I should just get into my talk first. I guess in the future I'll just run a poll and then you guys can let me know. But for today, I think I'll read first. I just think that'd be like easier to kind of jump into the conversation. And also this will give you an idea of like what the book's about and whatnot. So here we go. From the end of July to October, I spend my time helping Andre get the affairs of the house and our many businesses in order. The daily drudgery of waking up and being dragged from one place to another wears on me, and I find myself in an endless loop of misery. You would think that sunlight would deter a 1,000-plus-year-old vampire from going into the world during the day. But you'd be wrong. He takes pleasure in torturing me by discussing fiduciary and fiscal responsibilities. If I must go over one more budget, I might end up taking a stake to my heart and praying that I do not come back as a fully fledged fairy host. That would be everyone's worst nightmare for me. I draw on the notepad in front of me as we talk about what to do with our income from the blood banks, art depots, and charities that we own. The drawing before me displays a world with no supernatural beings in it, a world with no Draculas, no blood countesses, and no Fey whisperers. It is a peaceful world. A hand slaps the part of the desk in front of me and I jump. Andre is scowling at me, a face that I've grown used to over the past few months. Yes, I ask. Are you paying attention, future president of this company? I feign innocence. Of course. We were just discussing the importance of non-peer human relationships in the workplace. Andre is displeased with my answers. That was last week's topic. He sighs. Come on, he says, and pulls me into the hallway. Really? Of all the things that you could have said? I slouch against the wall. I have explained to you that I am not cut out for this world. I make the arts, I donate to the charities, I drink the blood. Managing it all is not my cup of tea. Why force me to do it? He balls his hands up and curses at the ceiling. Elizabeth. Lizzie, I correct him. Elizabeth Mina Bathory Tepes, he says in a disparaged voice. What happens to everything if your father dies? We celebrate? What happens if I die? I get another you? Damn it, Lizzie, why are you always so sarcastic? I shrug. It's how I deal with all of this. I wave my hands around me. Father does not care about this empire. It is your empire. You built it. Mother is who knows where and probably does not know about it. And I paused to look him in the eye. Andre, these companies, they are your babies. You built them to take care of the supernatural world, specifically the vampires. Why are you trying to pawn it off on me? I'm not pawning it off. I am leaving it to you. Why? Because I owe it to this family. I owe it to you. No, you do not. Yes, I do. We are at an impasse and we both slide down to the floor. Andre fidgets with his wallet and pulls something out. Here, he says, handing it to me. I take the crumpled paper. What is it? I ask. It explains a lot of things, but you won't be able to read it until I'm gone. Why? Because this family has a lot of secrets. This empire, as you call it, is built on the backs of those secrets. What does that have to do with me? He smiles sadly. You'll see. In the meantime, go home. I think that's like a great place to stop. This is like towards the middle of the book and a lot's going on. I don't want to give too much. I know I just kind of read it, so that might be a little spoilerish, but I just thought that that was an important scene in talking about responsibilities and what your family expects of you. So for those of you who haven't read the book, Andre is kind of like Elizabeth Bathory Tepes' father figure. He's there to kind of help guide her. Her actual father, Dracula, has been locked away inside of his man cave, which is a part of their estate. And so since he's been locked away in his man cave, Andre kind of steps in and he's done all this stuff for her family because he feels like it is his job. In any event, as you heard, he feels that he owes all of his life and everything to the family based off of some secrets that we do not yet know about. I'm gonna go ahead and answer that burning question. No, you don't find out those secrets in this book or book 2. They might appear in book 3, just to let you know ahead of time. That's when that paper will become significant. But in any event, he's got all of this pressure and stuff on him for these companies, and he wants to leave it to Elizabeth, and she is just not into it. She just doesn't want anything to do with it. She's like, this is yours, you take it, you do what you want with that, and I'm gonna do me, which is pretty much her just running around looking for her mother and doing whatever the fuck she pleases. That's pretty much her whole persona. But at some point she will have to take that responsibility, and what she does with it is up to her. So I think that's like a great example of like when your family expects you to do something and you just don't want to. And I think that a lot of people just feel obligated to do the things that their family want them. If you're in a family of doctors, you probably feel like, okay, I have to be a doctor too, or lawyers, or artists, or whatever it is. I'm a huge anime nerd. I was just watching an episode of My Hero Academia not too long ago, and there was this whole episode where one of the characters, she has this conversation with her parents about how she loves music, but she really just wants to be a superhero, and they actually tell her it's okay. And I just thought that was so powerful in there, and I think the scene in my book is powerful too, because it shows that like there's not just one answer when it comes to what you're supposed to do in terms of your family. So for anyone who has like family members who are pressuring them to do things that they don't want to do, you have to take a step back and look at what it is that you want to do with your life. And I think that everybody could use some help with that, because sometimes we don't realize that we're being pressured into it, or we don't realize that, we might be the ones doing the pressuring. And so it's always helpful to have that open dialogue, that open communication, to kind of just figure it out and not just jump headfirst into something that may or may not make you unhappy for the rest of your life. So that's what I get from that particular scene. I've got one other one that I want to read, and then we can talk more about this topic. So this is an excerpt from book 2, also along the same lines. It's very different. So what's happened so far in this book is that Elizabeth Bathory Tepes, EBT, finds out that she has an aunt. She doesn't know anything about her mom's side of the family, but she finds out she has an aunt. Also, be warned, from this point forward, there are some spoilers from book 2. So if you haven't read book 1, then this will be a spoiler. Just throwing that out there. I don't know how many people plan on reading it or who have read it, but I'm just letting you know ahead of time so that you're not surprised. This is like page 16 in book 2. That's my job, sister. Wait, sister? I ask. Sister, Latina replies. As in, your aunt, she says. But I can't speak. I have no words. It seems like the next queen of the realms is speechless, Latina continues. Really, Eliza, you should have kept her and taught her things. You know why I couldn't. Yes, well, it's a shame, but it's never too late. So, is that what you want? Yes, if you want the blood pact broken. They continue to talk around me as though I am not there. I comprehend the gist of the conversation. The Bathory and Tepes lines are royalty among the supernatural community. Latina wants to teach me what it means to be Fae so that I can become the next Queen of Realms. But Mother is against it. Eventually, we follow Auntie Latina, the name does not roll off the tongue, into the palace. They discuss the topic for hours upon hours. By the time they ask me to weigh in, I'm not sure what I want. I already have a lot on my plate. I make a mental list of what I need versus what I want. I need to learn about my Fae side. I need to learn about Mother and my bloodlines, and I need to know how to break the blood pact with Anton. But the only thing that I want in this moment in time is to discern who or what I am so that I can be with Dimitri. I want to leave the rest of this behind me. I want to have an actual conversation with my father. I do not know the best course of action, but as their stares become unwavering and as they look at me expectantly, I decide to do what they want. I will become the next Queen of the Realms. On one condition. I try not to fidget with my clothes. And what is that? They ask in unison. I point at my mother. She has to come too. I want to know everything about this side of my lineage. I can't do that without her here. That's not the deal, my mother snarls at me. That's not true, Latina says. It's part of the deal now, I tell my mother. To Latina, I arch an eyebrow. Do you know how to teach a sluwa to control their abilities? I guess not. Latina's voice is low, barely above a whisper, but I hear the comment. I look back at my mother. She scowls at me, but I ignore her and wait for Aunt Latina's reply. She has the final say. It's a fair request, Latina replies, and we'll all get what we want. How do I know that you'll find an answer to my dilemma? I ask her. I am the Queen of Realms, darling. She doesn't hesitate. If there is an answer, I will find it. If not, well, she lets the sentence hang. I ponder my choices. If there's no answer, and Anton decides to come after me, then I'll be forced to do something that I am against. But if there is, I don't like the sound of it, but the choice is simple. Fine, I say. Tell me what I need to do to become the next Queen of the Realms. So I also think that this is like a good example of when your familial responsibilities kind of intrude upon your life. EBT, she's like, I don't really want to do this thing, but it'll get me what I want, and therefore I should do it. And so, I mean, I think it's one of her character flaws. Actually, she's really in a hurry to do everything in order to get what she wants. She doesn't take her time. She doesn't think about the consequences of her actions, and she sure as hell does not like care who she hurts like on the path there. And I'm not gonna lie, like those are all like really bad traits to have, and I actually have like a few of those. I'm not gonna tell you which ones, but I do have some of them. And so I kind of understand like why she feels like she has to do this thing. It's gonna get her what she wants. And I would be remiss to say that I feel like a lot of people do that. For instance, like I actually have been thinking about going to law school. I think law is pretty interesting. I think it's pretty cool. But what I'm not sure about is like, is that for me, or is it just like something I want to do so that I can like get further in my life faster? And if it is something for me to get further in my life faster, then is it going to be worth the time and the headache and this and that and the other? And I think a lot of people have a hard time trying to decipher that for themselves. to which I would say, like, take your time. Like, don't rush. You have your whole life ahead of you. And as someone who kind of like tried to like rush through undergrad, rush through grad school, was impatient about getting her first like actual good job, which I did eventually get to, you know, a lot faster than some people, but a lot slower than I personally would have wanted to. Even though like that took time, like I needed to take that time. My mom always tells me that you have to crawl before you can walk, and you have to walk before you can run. I don't like to tell her that she's right. So if she's watching this, she'll learn that I know she's right, because she is. You do have to take your time and not rush with things. And, you know, if you're feeling pressured by like family to like do a certain thing, go to a certain school, act a certain way, if that's not you, if that's not who you are inside, then don't let their thoughts influence you. Like, figure out who you are, figure out how to love yourself, how to be who you are, take that time to discover yourself, and then you can go down and decide, okay, yes, I'm going to listen to mother, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, whomever, and do this thing because it is the right decision for me. What you don't want to do is be like Elizabeth EBT over here and just rush into it because it's going to get me what I want, and I have a one-track mind, and that's all I see right now. So those are the things that I can tell you about like familial responsibilities and like how to kind of navigate that in your life. The end of the story is just be you, do you, love you, and accept you, and figure out who you are. That's really all I can say about it. I hope this was informative. Again, if you have any questions for me, I will be on Facebook on Saturday, 5:30 p.m. It's always going to be Saturdays around 5:30 p.m. unless something in my personal life comes up. So with that, I hope you all have enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Thank you so much. Bye. Because her actual father, Vladimir Tepes, also known as Dracula, has been locked up away